Zoro there gets a 5-place grid penalty for having a collision with Laston. That is not good for them. And we have a lot of drivers now coming. One of the Alpines are Blake. They go into P12, overtaking off Keenan. And I think in the mix, I think Zora got through there into P5. And Sab taking the time when it mattered, getting pulled by 1 millisecond. Liam finishes in P4. They can't improve on their teammates. But Sab, when it mattered, look at that. 1 millisecond separating them. Here we go to 5 red lights for the first race in Division 4 here at Silverstone. Lights out and away we go. They weren't held long. And I do think the Ferrari got away better. Sab has a massive snap. And they are already down to P3. Will they be overtaken by the other McLaren going into turn 2? And I think they just are able to cover off that. But here comes Liam down the inside going into Village. And can they hold that round the outside? And a bit of a bit more contact as Vaxi loses places there. Sab gets back into the lead as Kevin goes up the inside and past Morgan Hughes and gets into P5. Can Morgan Hughes though challenge that back down the inside? Kevin is going to challenge it on the Ferrari down the inside going into Brooklands, and I think the Aston Martin gets there 3 wide in the back as you see Laston trying to go around the inside, now tries to run the outside going into Luffield and through Woodcote. What is going to be able to happen as Mel stays in front, Vaxi stays in front of Kevin, as One Eye and Morgan Hughes now having a battle. Morgan Hughes losing many positions, down into P10 it is for them now, below both Hasses, and Greyline is just trying to keep his nose clean as well. As we're going to see Liam and Bosmowitz fight it through Magnus and Beckett's. Bosmowitz up to P3 he is. And he isn't going to be able to challenge on Liam going into that corner. Will we see Vaxi trying to overtake Bosmowitz? Vaxi is looking close. Kevin looking really close to Vaxi as well. I think Morse has had a moment there in the background. Up the inside goes Kevin. Can he take the position of Vaxi? Round the inside he goes into Stowe and into Vale. Is he going to be able to get the place? And no, Vaxi covers him off. Kevin looked to go down the inside but not able to make that position. He stays in P5 as I think Destroyer Drag has had a slight moment there. Into P15 he goes now. Neek in front and Brownest Buns in P14. Neek is going to try this down the inside. Can she get that move? And no, she can't. She will have to stay behind. Morgan Hughes making one position on one of the Hasses. Can he try that and get it done going into Village? And he does. Speed Slash, he goes very wide there. Loses 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 positions. As he is still going to try and hold it around the inside. Has a bit of contact with Blake there, sorry. Around the outside, can Goat Alonso get that position? And I think he does. Liam now takes the lead of the race. Sab back down in P2. Can Bosmowitz look to do anything going into Village? No, they all stay in the same positions at the moment. Can we see Vaxi charge for a switchback? No, we can't. Dropping down the order, as I think Grey Liners, they've had a moment. Well, Moores is probably not there as Liam tries to go up the inside of Sab and gets that move done quite nicely. Can Sab look for the reposition or the re-overtake down the inside? No, he can't. Bosmowitz is going to try his look round the outside, and he has to back out of that one. Will Vaxi be able to get his nose stuck in this fight? I also think Laston has got the move on One Eye, or One Eye actually gets the position around the outside of Laston. That was a beautiful overtake there from One Eye. Will we see Morgan Hughes now trying to go up the inside, going into Abby, sorry. No, we won't. And I think Laston tried to get the move on One Eye as well, but not able to make that move stick either. Brownest Buns trying to go around the outside of Morgan Hughes here. And I think Zora gets the move on Destroyer Drac as well. Destroyer Drac is just in front though. Brownest Buns has to back out. That was some good racing between those four. As Liam now gets back into the lead. Will we see Bosmowitz try and stick his nose down the inside? Around the outside is going to try through Luffield, but will Vaxi get that move down the inside? No, he won't, and Vaxi will have to stay behind. And I don't think Bosmowitz can make anything there, but will we see Sab make the reposition on Liam? Yes, we will. Will Bosmowitz try and go for it here, though? Down the inside he goes, yes, and Bosmowitz gets up into P2. Liam down in P3, but he's still going to try and fight this round the outside. Vaxi is being a bit boxed in here, but Bosmowitz able to make that move stick. Good move from the Alpine. Yesterday's race in Division 5 was a wet race. Doesn't seem to be the case today. Actually going quite wide there. Are we going to see Liam switch back on the Alpine? Bit of close racing there, but I think Liam is going to still try and fight this down the inside. Bosmowitz, I think, just had to give that up. Liam had a much better exit, and I think Bosmowitz went a bit wide through Beckett's. Liam gets the move done. We are going to see Zora and One Eye go side by side there. And Zora down the inside. What a move. One Eye doesn't really have a response to that, but Zora was getting all out of shape on the exit. Will we see Destroyer Drac to go down the inside of the Haas going into Abbey? Yes, we do. I'll tell you what, a fair play Destroyer Drac gets that move stick. Very nicely done. And he will maintain that as well. Blake, though, trying to go around the outside of Speed Slasher. Speed Slasher now has the outside. Can he hold that? As they made contact, and that is Blake pushing Speed Slasher off. That was the contact model. All good there, I think. Just a bit of, unfortunate there for Speed Slasher. We're going to see Bosmwich try to go around the outside of Sab there. No, we don't. Got quite close, though. Oh, as Bosmwich is effectively pushing the Williams through there, as I think Kevin was trying to make a move on Baxi, and in doing so, Nell now tries his luck. And they're all trying to break the toe there. Yellow flags, that is Neek, who has spun in the background. And down the inside, Kevin manages to stay in front. Baxi, though, trying to make a move down the inside of Bosmwich. Bosmwich just has the outside there and will stay in P3. Sab moving to the inside with the DRS. Gets the move on Liam. Can Bosmwich look for it as well? Yes, he does. And once again, it's a repeat of what happened a few laps ago. Will Vaxi look for the move? Vaxi with a double switchback. Can he get around the outside of the Alpine going into Vale? Yes, he does. Vaxi into P2. That was a lovely move. And now Kevin is going to try and get his snow stuck in on the McLaren. Not able to make that move stick, though. And I think we might see Mo go for the move on the Aston Martin. Down the inside going into Abbey. But I think the Aston Martin just burns to stay in front. That was a lovely move from the Ferrari. Out of absolutely nowhere. Goes from P4 to P2. Now trying to go down the inside of Laston once again. Very close to contact. We'll have the outside through Luffield. But Laston just has the better exit there. And Vaxi gets into the lead of the race as well. I didn't see that coming. I do apologise, I didn't see that coming, but Vaxi into P1 now. Bosmwich is going to try and fight this. Going into back into Beckett's, and Sab just stays in front there. That got really close. Under pressured by that Alpine. Liam, though, trying to go up the inside of the Alpine. I think the Alpine might have had a moment out of Brooklands. And through Woodcut, can Liam get that move stick? And he is still going to maintain his side-by-side into Cup's corner. Liam gets into P3. Good move there from the McLaren. Will we see Kevin potentially try and make a move? And I don't think we will. He's too far back. But through the inside of Cup's, Bosmwich, can he get the move on the Ferrari? And the Ferrari backs out. That was a great move from Bosmwich. A little bit ambitious there, but I'll tell you what, he made it, he made it work. Great move. Go to Alonso now with a 3-second penalty. Can we see Kevin try and get in on the mix as well? Can he try it around the outside of the Ferrari? Moves to the inside. Down the inside, he's going to try it. Side by side into Stoke corner, not Cop's corner. That was the few corners before. Side by side into Vale. Very close to contact. The Aston Martin has the inside for Vale, but not able to get that. Vaxi shoves the door in his face. It says, "Not today, sir. I will be keeping this P3 spot." Sab net P5, Vaxi net P6, Kevin net P7, Laston net P8. As One Eye is going to try and make a move on Morgan Hughes around the outside, going into Village, into the loop. Can One Eye get the move? It's still going to be side by side. The McLaren holds the outside, and I'll tell you what, a much better exit there from the McLaren to stay in a net P9. One Eye is going to try and do some defensive driving, but One Eye actually sends it back down the inside of the McLaren. Round Luffield we go, and look at Blake. He gets the overtake on Zora. Try to get the inside of One Eye as well. Not able to make it through Luffield, but into Cop's corner. Will Blake hold that? No, he doesn't. He stays behind. Look at Zora though. Can he get the double switchback like we saw Vaxi do? Yes, he does. And Zora into a net P10. A lovely move there from Zora to get into P12. Blake trying to get back around the outside of the Haas. Can he get that move stick? No, he can't. As we see Brownist and Moores into the pits. Oh, bit of contact between Blake and Speed Slasher. One Eye, actually, I should say. Speed Slasher was the one that didn't get tapped around. And Blake somehow coming off less of that, but One Eye will probably be a bit furious about that. Bosmwich trying to go around the outside into Cop's corner. Around the outside he goes. Ooh, very close to contact. Bosmwich gets a 3 seconds, gets pushed off a little bit there. Whether that will be removed, I do not know. I think Mel just left him enough space. And Bosmore stays in P2 at the moment. Mel trying to go back round the inside of Bosmois into Stowe Corner. And I think he actually had a snap. It's Destroyer, Drac and Vaxi both get past there of the Red Bull. And Mel, who was in a net P2, is now finds himself in, well, actually was P2, now finds himself in P5. Vaxi finally gets the move on Destroyer Drac. Will we see Bosmois go for the inside of the McLaren? Yes, we do. And Bosmois will now get into the lead of the race. Vaxi will be the next driver to get up the inside. Will he try it around the outside, maybe? Oh, and he tries to push the McLaren out of the way. Side by side into Vale. Can he get it down the inside, going into the second part of Vale, over the sausage curb, jumps over it, and that will allow Destroyer Drac to go back around the outside. Still side by side as we go through Abbey. Will Vaxi be able to hold on to this? No, he doesn't. Backs out and allows Destroyer Drac to stay in P3. This Destroyer Drac, I think, is going to try his move on the McLaren. Not able to make that move stick, though. Will Vaxi look for the switchback? He gets up the inside of Destroyer Drac. Can he get the move fully stick? Down the inside, going into Aintree. And now down the Wellington Straight. Who is going to have the better straight line speed? Both drivers with the overtake. And with the DRS, and Vaxi gets into P3. Oh, Speed Slasher trying to go down the inside of the Sauber. Can he make that move stick? Round the outside. And I think Morse just stays in front. Speed Slasher stays behind. Sab getting really close. Can he look for the inside of the Mercedes? Yes, he does. Can he get the better traction? And no, for sure he can on the soft tyre compared to the mediums. Next driver on the radar for Sab is Liam, but I don't think Sab is really particularly that close. Always there's a bit of a battle there between Morgan Hughes and Brownish Buns. Brownish Buns holds the inside. Can he get that move stick? As they're still going to maintain it side by side into Vale. And I think Brownish Buns can get that move stick. Down the inside he goes. And Brownish Buns up into P10. Destroyer Drag doing all well as well. You know, doing all right as well to stay within the DRS fight. Bosmore step back down the inside of the McLaren into Brooklands and through Luffield. Still side by side. And Bosmore just gets in front. But he has been pushed off again by Liam. And Blake trying to go around the outside of One Eye there. And gets the move pretty nicely there. One A is still going to try and fight this down the inside, going into Vale. Gets the wheel there, but hops over the sausage curb. And that will demote him back down into P16. Bosmore is going to blast past Vaxi there. And I think Liam might as well. Liam up the inside of Bosmore as well. Can Liam get back into the lead of the race? And he absolutely does. 3 wide momentarily. Vaxi gets a bit of a snap. Bosmore back down the inside, gets back into the lead. Will Liam look for the switchback? Yes, he does. Vaxi is still there. And Bosmore gets away well. Liam and Vaxi now a little bit of a contact coming out of Club Corner. Side by side as we go into Abbey. Who is going to come out best? And it is going to be Liam. As Destroyer Drac has gone all the way down to P11. I think he might have had a spin there. Unfortunate for him. Vaxi is looking really close to Liam. Bosmore pretty much has this win in his sights. And Vaxi is on the overtake. Liam is going to pull to the inside. Bosmore is there, but Liam tries to go around the outside. Can he make that move stick? And he manages to stay on track there. I thought he was going to go off the track, but Liam gets back into the lead of the race. Vaxi, can he go down the inside of Bosmore? No, he can't. Hops over the curb. That will allow Sab. He jumps over the sausage curb, and Kevin will have to stay behind, but Liam comes across the final corner to win the Silverstone Grand Prix somehow on those old mediums. A fantastic race for him. Vaxi gave it his all, but only good enough for P2. Sab in P3. Brownish Buns will stay in P4. Zora will finish in P5. Bosmore, with that penalty, drops him down to P6. Whether that can get removed, I'm not too sure. Followed by Kevin, Morgan Hughes, Mel, Laston, Destroyer Drac, Grey Lion, Blake, Moores, Speed Slasher, One Eye. And then Keenan will come across the line to take P17. But once again, another McLaren win in this season. And I'm sure McLaren and Avi are going to be loving that. Starting off this season strong, where they ended out last season. And they're going to be charging for many more of those wins. And trying to get that championship once again.